Yes, the ECB gives us the impression that we have reached, a peak for the interest rates. There is now the necessity for the central bank to wait and to assess all the hikes that have been implemented and decided, and to assess their impact on the economy. Now the problem is that the economy is more and more, decelerating, especially in Germany. And we only see what are the reaction of the German economy with these, support given, provided in China, because we all know that the German story is connected to the Chinese business cycle. But so far, what we can say is that the business cycle is weakening and inflation is still high. So there is a clear necessity to assess the situation clearly with all the hikes and all the decisions made by the ECB. So posing now, I think, is clearly what we were expecting, and it is, I think, the right decision that the ECB have to do and they have to implement.
Yeah, I suppose the worry becomes that energy story that you've also made note of then as well. And you will have weakening credit demand, but that oil and gas story, that energy story is rearing its head up again. If that continues to apply any more pressure, is this restrictive enough then? Is this becoming a restrictive enough environment? You still have inflation too high then, more than 2 times where the ECB would probably like it at this stage in some instances. So clearly then there might still be more work, or does that go more to the balance sheet as opposed to just hitting the nail with the same hammer routine here?
Yeah, right. There is this risk of, seeing inflation boosted by the recent development on the energy market. And clearly with the Brent price at close to, $94 per barrel, it is a threat on the European inflation. And the problem is that this inflation is coming from, again, this is the same story, a supply shock. And this supply shock can in turn fuel, the inflation, the core inflation in Europe. And this is exactly what we have witnessed in the past, over the past 2 years. And clearly, this is why, that there is a necessity again for a pause. A pause doesn't mean that they clearly, left the idea to hike again rates. The pause means that we need to assess, we need to clearly evaluate what is the situation, and if there is a risk of a second increase in inflation, which is, when we look at the data in the past, for example, in the US at the end of the 70s, what exactly happened, inflation has declined after, the decision made by the central banks in the past, and they have suddenly increased due to, again, another increase in oil prices. So the story is, not repeating again, but it looks like that we have still this risk in the pipe. And the ECB needs to be, very cautious. And this is exactly what Christine Lagarde yesterday said. We need to pause, and we need not to pause, but we need to assess, now the situation.